Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the ability to identify and manage your emotions and the emotions of others. Scientific analyst, author, and psychologist Daniel Goleman popularized the concept of emotional intelligence, EQ, in 1995 in his book, Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. Now, Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence theory outlines 5 components of EQ: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Hi, this is Clarity Coach Lucy. Welcome to the EQ and Me series. Emotional intelligence can be applied to meet goals and targets, as well as create a happier and healthier life and working culture. This March, we borrow from Daniel Goleman's theory, and we will cover 5 episodes. And I do hope that by the end of these episodes, you will have a greater understanding of the importance of EQ in our lives and hopefully apply the learnings. In this episode today, we seek to understand how to be self-aware, and we ask the question, is emotional intelligence important? So good afternoon, a good morning, and a good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. I'm just going to check that indeed we are live. Just checking there. And yes, I confirm that we are live. Great. So once again, the question for today is emotional intelligence important? Because emotional intelligence can be applied to meet goals and targets, as well as create a happier and healthier life and working culture. So I do hope that by the end of all these 5 episodes, you will have a greater understanding of the importance of EQ in our lives and hopefully apply the learnings. Feel free to answer the question into the chat. Is emotional intelligence important? Nancy, welcome. Good to see you here. Karibu sana. Let's just go straight into it. And we've got self-awareness. Well, coming face to face with your emotions when we're talking matters self-aware can be very scary. It can easily be an opportunity to brush it under a rug, throw it out of the window and hope that it would go away. Unfortunately, as most of you have come to realize, this thing that we are pushing under the rug, sweeping under the rug and throwing out of the window has to come out at some point. Things never get hidden or put away forever. We call them skeletons in a closet, whatever it is that you call it. So I suggest that you be in control of the when and the where, and perhaps the how of when it comes out. The when, the where, and the how. Alice Njambi, whoa, great to see you here. Great to see you here, Conscious Coach, Karibu Sana. So on self-awareness matters, no matter how much you have this urge to push it under the rug because you think it is safe, this is not the time for it to come out now. And you think that because you have willed it to stay underneath that rug, it is going to stay there. I suggest that you be in control of it. So to help you be in control of this on matters self-awareness, I want us to look at 2 main areas that will help with this control. And one of them is emotional self-awareness, and the other is accurate self-assessment. Jane Adam, Karibu Sana, good to see you here today. So as we jump into our self-awareness and trying to see how we can understand it, I want to remind you of the question that we have today, which is emotional intelligence important? Do you know what emotional intelligence is? And how is it applied in your life? Well, emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your emotions and the emotions of others. It sounds easily said than done. That is how it sounds. The reality is you have to understand yourself first. And this is why we will start out with the self-awareness and actually look at emotional self-awareness. So let us define emotional self-awareness. And this, you can look it up on the internet in Google, Wikipedia. And whatever description will come up will be something close to the one that I'm sharing now, which is, it is the ability to understand your own emotions and the effects that it has on your performance. Your emotions will always have an effect on your performance because we are emotional beings. When we set out to do something, emotions lead the way. We think later. We may have a great plan, but as we step into our plan, our emotions are the ones that show up. So you want to know how you're feeling, what you're feeling, why you're feeling, and how. And once you get into the habit, your interactions will be meaningful and authentic, and you will have better outcomes. So emotional self-awareness is the ability to understand your own emotions and their effects on your performance. That you know what you are feeling and why and how. So for example, you need to be waking up to the fact that once you journal something, you begin to tame it. And I've said this quite a few times on my sessions here. Once you journal something, you begin to tame it. So journaling your emotions as they happen, both good and bad, is something that we must do. Right now, you're experiencing some kind of emotion. You want to just take a moment and write it down. What kind of emotion are you experiencing? Are you feeling impatient? Are you feeling hurried? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling disturbed? Whatever it is, as human beings, we are always experiencing an emotion at any one time. So we need to journal it down, good and bad. So let's give an example. First thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, you write down an emotion. What kind of emotion? Maybe you've woken up and you're feeling any kind of emotion. Let's talk about excitement. You are so excited today. Write it down. You are so excited today. And at midday, you make sure to see what kind of emotion you're experiencing. Early evening, you make sure what kind of emotion you're experiencing. You're writing it down. And in the evening, well, very quickly you'll realize that the emotions will be different from morning to midday, to early evening, to nighttime. So when you wake up in the morning, you have an emotion that you like, that you love, and you want to maintain. News alert, you actually are in control of maintaining this emotion throughout the day. You ask me how, Lucy, how? Well, wake up in the morning and feel the excitement. Register it, write it down. Decide there and then, before thought comes into play, how you are going to ensure that this excitement is sustainable throughout the day. What are the things you're going to do? Maybe one of the things is anytime somebody comes at you with anything other than an excitement of an emotion, you deal with it. You decide how you're going to deal with it. It's just like a business plan in a company, where we put in our action plans. And when things come along the way, we manage, we know those are the risks. We manage the risks and we mitigate them with certain actions. So this is what you're doing in the morning. You're holding on to your excitement. And you know there's a risk that there's going to be enough distractions during the day that are going to come into conflict with your excitement and actually take it away from you if you're not prepared. So what are your mitigating actions? Decide there and then in the morning. Don't let anything else take over that moment. And now that you have decided these are the risks that could happen during the day, I mean, think about it right now. You can actually think about certain risks that would come between you and keeping that excitement the entire day alive. What could they be? Could it be a text from a friend with news that is not so good? Could it be an email from the office advising you of a deadline that you have missed? Could it be a friend who has knocked on your door with some sad, traumatic news? Could it be the environment or the news as you're watching the news or reading the newspaper that has changed that excitement? Those are the risks. So be aware of those risks and have a mitigating action. You may even come across somebody else who has a different type of emotion, which is totally different from your excitement. Be prepared. Now, once you have your game plan, make a plan to keep on checking. So at midday, check in with yourself. Are you still excited? Yes, no. Yes, fantastic. What am I doing right? Let me keep on doing it. No, what is it that I'm not doing right? Because I intend to remain excited throughout the day. In fact, during the day, I expect to be more excited than I was first thing in the morning. I mean, this is your life. It is your story. I'm only giving you tips. Early evening, check in again and see your level of excitement. Are you still there? And then nighttime, is it still there? It's time to give thanks. It is time to give thanks that your action plan concluded right through to the end. It's not easy. It's not easy to maintain one emotion throughout the day against all odds. So that could have been excitement. What about if you woke up with dread, that fear, that apprehension of going into the day? Again, same thing. Journal your emotion. Journal it. Put down dread. Now, imagine with dread, that dread is at the bottom of a thermometer, so to speak, or dread is at the bottom of the list, the bottom of the staircase, and you want to go to the uppermost. What would it be for you? Would it be joy? Would it be happiness? Would it be clarity? What is it that you want to achieve? The opposite of dread. You need to call it. Write it down in that journal. Write it down. And when you write it down, as you're writing it down, consider the things, the actions, the points, the activities that you have to put into place to maintain that new narrative, which is joy, happiness, clarity, abundance. Write it down. Write it down, guys, because when you write down something, even if you're putting it in the notes in your phone, even if you're writing on a small notebook and putting it in the back pocket, your top pocket, in your handbag, wherever it is, you can carry this note. So throughout the day, you pull it out and you look at it and you remind yourself at midday. You remind yourself in the evening. You remind yourself at night, because our lives, the minute we get out of that door or get out of that bed, life can take over. These are the things then that we push under the carpet and we decide we are not handling at this moment. And then guess what? It comes out when we don't want it to come out and we cannot control it. The tips I'm giving you are so that you can use them to control emotions, because we are talking about emotional intelligence. We want to be able to understand our own emotions as they come, so we journal them. And for these emotions that are not so happy ones, like dread, you want to be compassionate with yourself. You want to show love unto yourself. Yes, depression is real, guys. And when you are experiencing it, you tend to beat yourself up, because anybody who is depressed doesn't want to stay there. They want to come out of it. If you have been depressed, you can relate to what I am saying. But every time you try to put your head up, you've got your inner critic, your self-doubt. You've got people around you saying things that, are really unnecessary at that time. Like, snap out of it. How are you asking me to snap out of something that is literally swallowing me whole? So I encourage you to start with you and be compassionate with yourself and love yourself. We covered this in my compassion series last month. So visit my YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy, for more information as to how to tackle compassion and love and choose it over your life. So we have journaled our emotions. That is your first tip. So whether good or bad, journal them. Know what they are. Call it out. Write it down. Deal with it the entire day. In the evening, give thanks to God. Give thanks to God and see what it is you could have done better. So tomorrow is another day. We are starting again tomorrow. We are on a roll. The second one is identifying the triggers. If you remember, we talked about you being excited. Something must have triggered it, maybe your dream. But I want to believe something happened before you went to sleep. Maybe during the day, maybe a day before, and today is the day when this reason for excitement is happening. Thank you so much, Alice Njambi, conscious coach. You say to me, yes, journaling is key, very important. Once you journal it, you cannot lose it. You're already forming that habit of affirming what is in your mind. So identifying the triggers. How do we identify these triggers? Try and see what or who made you feel this way. Try and see what or who. You may find, if you're a parent of a little child, maybe yesterday they took their first step and you went to sleep with this happiness in you. And today the excitement that you have is towards watching this child take a few more steps because they're finally walking. This could be what triggered this excitement that you woke up with. If you're a business person, maybe today is the day you're launching your company. So you are so excited. Today is that day. Or today is that day when you're getting your funding. So you're so excited. In fact, you're excited you've got butterflies in your tummy. Identify the trigger. Write down the trigger against that excitement. It is important, and you'll see where I'm leading up to with this. So once you've identified your trigger and you know what or who, so here we've said what could be your company, who could be that little child, something you're looking forward today, or maybe it's the end of your diet and now you can go back to that food that you loved so much, but you've achieved your diet, you want to celebrate, and now you want to be able to have a cheat day. Maybe that is what excites you. Be aware of the events that lead up to these emotions. It is so important that you are aware of this. Because once you are aware of what identifies your triggers, imagine like dread. There must be a reason why you are feeling these feelings of dread, but you've written it down and you've put down the identifying of the triggers. Don't ignore it. Now, these emotions don't only happen first thing in the morning, it's throughout the day. So keep your journal with you. Because as I said in the beginning, we are emotional beings and we are fueled on emotions. The whole day we are going through a plethora of emotions. It would be amazing that at the end of the day, you look at your list and you see the amount of emotions you have gone through. It then actually suggests to you that you can do something about it. You can control these emotions and choose which emotions should show up when. The third part, the first was journaling, the second was identifying your triggers. The third part is observing behavior. Observing behavior both of yourself and the people around you, how they are reacting to this excitement or to this dread. So for example, you notice that your group members, you notice that maybe your children, you notice your friends or your family or whatever situation you're in, that whenever you are in control, people never seem to come up with ideas and suggestions to a challenge. You know, it's time to wake up because now we're looking at our emotional self-awareness. We want to be self-aware. And when you're self-aware, you need to know your environment. So this is your environment. These people around you, whenever you are in control, you, yes, I'm talking to you. Whenever you are in control, people don't come up with ideas and suggestions to a challenge. In fact, you walk away saying, all the time, it's me who's coming up with ideas and suggestions. You need to stop dead in your tracks and ask yourself why. Because by them not giving you these ideas and suggestions when you are the one who is in charge and in control, this is affecting your performance. How come you're the one who's always doing this? Stop dead in your tracks and ask your question. Take a moment and consider that it could be your emotional behavior. You could be an angry person. That could be the emotion that always seems to come up when you're in front of people for whatever reason. You could be an angry being. And people don't want to be on the receiving end of your emotions. You could be somebody who throws a tantrum at everything and anything. So people don't want to be on the receiving end of your emotions. You could be somebody who's always negatively criticizing, because there's positive criticism where you're growing somebody, but yours is negative. It could be that. You could be always negatively criticizing people, and body language speaks volume. Body language takes up 93% of our communication. If you did not know that, you know that today. So here you are making different faces at people who are looking up to you for direction, looking up to you for vision, looking up to you to drive them. And here you are making faces, using certain words. You're being negative. You're criticizing everything. Well, they don't want to be on the receiving end of your emotions. You could be very dismissive. Maybe every time somebody suggests something, you dismiss them. You don't even give it a chance. We don't even brainstorm. We don't even look at the pros and the cons, because you're in charge, you're going to do it. So they don't want to be on the receiving end of being dismissed. So take a moment and consider the emotional behavior that you have and how people react to them. That is already a trigger, and you start to realize that the problem is you. It is your emotions, but it's not the end of the world. Write it down and say that your emotion is anger. And what triggers it? It is whenever you're in a group of people that you get triggered. What kind of help do you need? ... You look for that help. As you observe this behavior, I did mention that you need to observe behavior towards yourself. When you're observing behavior towards yourself, you will realize that there are certain things that you do where you lack compassion and love for yourself. And like I said, visit my YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy. For last month's episodes on compassion and love, I did a whole series. And there you will find tips on how to be compassionate and how to love yourself, how to affirm and say that I am compassion, and say that I am love. Because then you're observing your own behavior where you beat yourself up. I know for a fact that I criticize myself very strongly. I am an introvert, therefore I am a deep thinker. Now, deep thinkers are going to dot every I and cross every T and reread and rethink and spend a lot of time there. And this is where our procrastination comes from. And so when you delay to do something, when I delayed to do something, I beat myself up until I discovered compassion and love for self. So I realized on my emotional self-awareness, I need to manage that. And we'll talk a bit more about self-regulation in our next episode. Here, it's about the awareness. Be aware what it is, so that when we go into next episode, you can actually say, this is my journal, Clarity Coach Lucy. Now we are going into self-regulation and management. I can then know how to manage this. Remember, we are talking about emotional intelligence. And the definition of emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your emotion and the emotions of others. You cannot start managing the people's emotions if you do not know yours. You have to have what we call a PhD on your own emotions. Understand where your emotions are coming from. Manage them from that point before you move on and manage other people's emotions. So whenever you're a leader in any setting, consider your emotional behavior, because it will affect your performance. You need to know what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. So we've already covered that in journaling and in identifying the triggers and looking at our behaviors. How is something else, because the how is about knowing when these emotions are welling up, when they are coming up in your body, and making a decision to either let them rule, so to speak, or let them in or not. Because you have the ability to choose to just block them and not let them in. In this ability to understand your own emotions and the effects it has on your performance, You need to be in a point of control, like I said. We're not pushing things under the rug anymore because we know it will come out on a day when we're not prepared to deal with it. We want to be in control, hence the tips that I'm giving you. So how do we know when these emotions are welling up? What are the signs? In my compassion series, I shared ways to do this. And one of them was the awareness of your physical reactions. So when you're getting angry, your body does something. You need to be able to tap into that physical action. What does your body do when you are angry? Only you know. Do your eyes squint? Does your heart race? Do your hands shake? Does the pitch in your voice change? Recognize these physical reactions or actions. Know them that, hey, when this begins to happen, I'm getting angry. You can nip it in the bud at this point. You can have certain actions like breathing in and breathing out slowly, just centering yourself. And in one of my series, I have taken you through centering yourself, where you've got your feet firmly planted into the ground and you're sitting up and you breathe in and out. You breathe in slowly and you breathe out, and slowly you begin to listen to your heart rate as it drops, as you continue to center yourself. This is one tip that you can use when you start to feel this particular emotion is just welling up in you. Take a moment. The situation is not going anywhere. Take a moment. Don't be in a rush to step into that space, that environment where you need to lead. Take a moment to calm down so that your performance is measured at a higher level by you first before anybody else. Set the standards, because like I said, you have the ability to choose not to stay in that emotional state. So anger wells up and now you've calmed it down. When you step into this leadership role, you know, with your family, with your group, with members of staff, yes, members of staff, or when you're stepping into a meeting, yes, anger is important, but the way you're going to deliver this angry emotion needs to be from a controlled point. Maybe you're going to use anger to get a point across, but you're not going to allow that emotion to overtake you. You're going to be controlled in that anger as you deliver your message, and your message is heard because it only takes anger perhaps to be able to deliver that message. And once it's done, step away from the anger so that you choose to let this emotion stay with you or leave. Now, what happens as a human being when you're not aware about these emotions? They end up just bogging you down the entire day. And I'm talking about the negative emotions. The good emotions, a happy high is a good one. But the negative ones end up just bogging you down, bringing you down, and your performance is affected. Imagine you're supposed to deliver something in the office and you can't because of these negative emotions. You're supposed to have teachable moments with your children, but you can't because you're not present, and these emotions are pulling you down. So get a visit of my YouTube channel and look at Compassion series and see how you can be compassionate and love to yourself. Now, that is emotional self-awareness. The second one that I was talking about is accurate self-assessment. Now, accurate self-assessment is the process of identifying your inner resources, abilities, strengths, and acknowledging and accepting your limits. We do all have limits. It is based on the desire to receive feedback and new perspectives about yourself, and is motivated by the desire for continuous learning and self-development. I have discovered this in the last 2 years, that desire for continuous learning and self-development. And I find that I have grown so much, and I have come into contact or in touch, or I have tapped into my self-awareness. However, before we go in there, the question today is emotional intelligence important? And I really would love for you to engage with me here on the thread. I'm just going to check and see if there was any engagement on that. I don't see any right now, but at least I've reminded you what it is we're talking about today. Emotional intelligence, otherwise known as EQ. Usually it was IQ that was popularized until Daniel Goleman came and popularized EQ, emotional intelligence. And it's not that he discovered it, no, he only popularized it. It already existed before then. He just brought it to the fore. And now in the time of the pandemic, emotional intelligence has become one of the buzzwords. So you want to be able to know how important it is in your life or not. Yeah. So accepting your limits is not easy. And if you have been following my Tuesday Talks at 3, you would have known that I am an expert in helping women get unstuck and onto their true potential, through addressing their limiting beliefs. And these limiting beliefs exist between our ears. These limiting beliefs come as self-doubt, as self-guilt, as self-talk, as the inner critic. And in my sessions, in my training sessions, the program is called Kamutu. Welcome, Jane Kuvuna. The program is called Kamutu. Kamutu meaning, loosely translated in Kiswahili, is a small person. So these small people talking in your head all the time, every time that you want to transcend into something new, you want to start something new, you want to create a new narrative. These self-doubt voices, self-talk voices, inner critic come in and paralyze you. Now, if you allow them to paralyze you, then you won't move forward. But the good news is that the reason you have got these voices in your head is because it is the brain's mechanism to protect you. The brain operates from the place of, just that area of the commonalities, that place where your comfort zone resides. The brain knows what it knows by how much you have put in and your experiences. So that zone that you're in is what the brain is protected. Now, when the brain senses that you want to do something more than the comfort zone, this is when the inner critic comes in. So we have an opportunity to change the narrative. And Dr. Bruce Lipton, on the topic Reprogramming Your Mind, talks about all these experiences that we acquire through our lifetime and how they form a basis in our mind for that area which is our comfort zone. But once you understand where these limiting beliefs are coming from, and that is that comfort zone and those experiences, we can change the narrative. So your accurate self-assessment is understanding what are your limits? What are your limiting beliefs? What are the things that stop you from doing things? What are the things that stop you from changing an addiction? Be aware of this. Addiction is not only about substance abuse. Addiction is just that thing that you cannot do without, and it is not helping you in your performance. It is not helping you in progressing. And you know that it is something that you want to get rid of, but you are unable to. Look at your limiting beliefs, and you will find your limiting beliefs are feeding this addiction. So accepting your limiting beliefs and looking for a way to be helped is a way to accurately self-assess yourself. Now, in my coaching sessions, moving on, one of the activities that I have is listing 10 values of yourself, listing them, like now I'll tell you, list some values, yeah? The way we do this is by seeking feedback. And remember, feedback is one way to have accurate self-assessment. So it's by seeking feedback. Another one is a self-assessment, as we are doing right now. The other one is identifying values of a role model. You look out there and you see this person and you want to be like this person. What values does this person have? How do they show it in their behaviors? Is this the way they live? So this exercise allows us to identify how we see ourselves and how others see ourselves. How others see ourselves. This activity, when we are seeking feedback, I send out my coachees to go and pick individuals and ask them, can you please tell me 2 words about myself, which are values? Now, values are positive. Values are positive. If I send you out for characteristics, then you're going to get values, you're going to get characteristics, which are both good and bad. So it's really up to you, but for the sake of this exercise, we will talk about positive values. Now, once they get these values from these people, they bring them back to the session. They've got their own values, who they think they stand for, which stands for them. And then they've got the values from the role model. And then it adds up to 10 values, and they look at it. And it allows them to identify how they see themselves and how others see them. It's a great exercise. And we have so much fun. It takes all of 45 minutes. So these few minutes that we have here on Tuesday Talks at 3 does not really give us ample time, but you get the idea. So for now, thank you so much, Jane Adam. You say great insight. Asante sana. It's amazing when we get into the topic of emotional intelligence. There is so much to cover. And I do hope that in these 5 episodes, I will be able to do justice to emotional intelligence. So for now, take a moment and put down 2 values, positive words, positive words. Put down 2 values that describe you. Just do it, take a moment and put down 2 values that describe you. They could be anything from understanding, adventurous, compassion. I love compassion, abundant. Just put them down. You can even share them with us here on the chat. What 2 values you have put down that resonate with you as positive words. Now, I want you to feel those words, whatever it is you have put. So let's imagine adventurous. We've put in adventurous. I want you to feel adventurous. I want you to feel adventurous. I want you to see yourself being adventurous. Feel yourself, see yourself. And now I'm asking you, how does that make you feel? Now that you have felt adventurous and you've seen yourself as being adventurous, or whichever value that you have picked, how does that make you feel? And it is important that you answer this question for yourself. Welcome, Teresa. Trisha, great to have you here. We're talking about emotional intelligence. And today, the question that we are asking ourselves is emotional intelligence important? Is emotional intelligence important? We've gone through self-awareness, where we've looked at emotional self-awareness, and now we are looking at accurate self-assessment. How does it make you feel? Is it you? That emotion that you have felt, or that value that you have felt, or that characteristic that you have felt, is it you? Is it really you? Does it resonate with you? Or are you living someone else's life? Therein lies the danger. If you are not self-aware, the chance that you are living somebody else's life is very high. The probability is very high, because you don't know yourself. And this is the only way you're going to know from the accurate self-assessment whether the values that you have are really yours, whether the principles that you have are really yours. You're most welcome, Kavi. You're most welcome. Kavi says, Lucy, thank you for the trigger points. It is so important that you know whether you're operating under yourself or you're operating in the shadow of somebody else. This other person could be your parent. This other person could be a guardian. This other person could be a teacher. They could be a sibling. They could be a leader, a spiritual leader. They could be a celebrity. And the list goes on, but it's not you. Take a moment and consider that. You could have been living somebody else's life. As we come to the end of our session today, I want you to consider who you are. As you continuously assess yourself, there are certain things about yourself that are going to come to light. It can be very scary. just knowing that this is you, it can be very scary. But once you get into this habit of knowing who you are, it gets easier. So ask yourself again, with these values that I have, is it me? Am I living somebody else's life? And if yes, what do I need to do? It's not the end of the world. That is the good news. You can then understand that these are my values and that was somebody else's values, and I can start from today. I can change this narrative. Just the way that I changed my narrative when I was talking about my limiting beliefs, I can change my values here, change my narrative, and start today. So in the past, we have written our emotions down. This time we are writing our values down. It's all about emotional intelligence, guys. It is powerful. It is powerful. So believe in yourself. Get excited about you, the emotions and the values. What are your successes? What are your abilities and your strengths? Line them up so that you can get excited about the person that is you. You can fall in love with this person that is you. You can hang out with this person that is you. And this is the person whose behavior is going to be manifested to the world. And you will be described in all those values that you emulate. It's as simple as that, because now you're telling people who you are and you're showing it in your habit. Be inspired. Be inspired by choosing to change your focus to things that you have achieved. Pull those successes and use that to be inspired. Yes, you have failures in life and you're going to use them as a stepping stone to become successful. So be inspired by your successes. Change your focus and just concentrate on your successes. You'll be amazed how that will work on your failures. Definitely in a positive way, because I have lived it and I continue to live it. Encourage yourself. How are you going to encourage yourself, you may ask me? Reflect on those obstacles that you have overcome with courage. Isn't that beautiful? You've overcome obstacles with courage. It takes courage to overcome obstacles. It's not something that just happens naturally, because you can run away from it. And we say that is flight. You can run away from an obstacle, or you can take it head on with courage. And when you do that, you find your inner strength. You find your inner strength. We are still on self-assessment, accurate self-assessment, and hence we are believing in ourselves. Know your limitations, like I said. What are your limiting beliefs? What are those things that are limiting you? Do you want to stay there? The choice is yours. Do you need help? Therefore, identifying where you can outsource that help from. The decision lies with you, but at least start with knowing your limitations, understanding who self is. Increase your feelings of self-efficacy. Learn a new skill. That's what it is. I'm telling you, I have done it in the last 2 years, and I am proof that it is possible. Even when you cross the 5th floor, that's on a light note. So accurate self-assessment, the definition is that it is the process of identifying your inner resources, your abilities and your strengths. Remember, those are your values. Those are your emotions. Those are your successes. And acknowledging and accepting your limiting beliefs. What are you going to do about those limiting beliefs? They exist. We're going to change the narrative. You're going to seek feedback and have new perspectives on your life and on yourself. And you're going to be motivated by the desire for continuous learning and self-development. Believe in yourself. And as we come to the end with the takeaways, I'm just checking here for any comments. I see Nancy. Nancy says, I look forward to the rest of the Tuesdays in this month of March. Oh yes, you and me too. And like I said, when it came to Goleman in his theory covered a few areas. And the areas that he covered were self-awareness, which we've gone through today in our episode. And then he went into self-regulation. And then he looked into motivation, empathy, that's a powerful one, and social skills. Social skills is about your relationships and how you manage your relationships and all the emotions that come up. So Nancy, yes, I look forward to having you on the next 4 episodes of this month of March. So how will we be self-aware, or how to be self-aware, or the self-awareness tips? Identify and journal your emotions. Very important. Identify and journal your emotions. You may not be able to journal all of them. You may not be able to journal all of them. But the ones that you can, just journal them. And you will find that your list will keep on growing, and you will have power over these emotions. You will choose the ones that you want to have center stage. Of course, there are days when things will go off and you won't be able to control it, but you have minimized the risk. Identify the triggers. What triggers are these that are making you have these emotions? What triggers are they? Be aware of them. When it is good triggers, you want to be able to feel it, understand what it is about. Make sure that you have it within your grasp. Identify your triggers. Be knowing when these emotions are coming up. Know from your physical reaction and your thoughts that these triggers are coming up. Be aware of your capabilities. This is very important. And this comes by way of values and your limiting beliefs. So there you've got 3 takeaways. I do hope that you will be able to use these effectively. And the question was, is emotional intelligence important? That was our question. And I will quote Daniel Goleman in conclusion. He said, and this is a quote that I picked on the internet. He said, if your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you're not able to manage your distressing emotions, if you can't have empathy and have effective relationships, then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far. So I leave it to you. I leave his quote to you. If you want to see his quote again, I'll be posting it on my YouTube later this evening, or you can just look up Daniel Goleman quotes and you will find this quote there. I absolutely loved it. Episode 2 is about self-regulation, like I was suggesting here. I would love to have all of you with me for all the 5 episodes. In the meantime, remember to like our Facebook page to receive regular updates and these scheduled talks or any other trainings that we have. Visit our website, which is lmcconsultancy.com, for more on our services. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy. Remember to like, to share, to hit the notification button so that you can get more information about what we are doing. My book is now available on Amazon in Kindle and in paperback, and it is called The Awakening Self. You can just Google me and you'll come up as Awakening Self and you can order the book. Let us help build one another. And until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.